Hello, hello. Corinne Kenny, you're the first name that I see. Tammy Moran, you're the second. Who is Alice Herrick? I've heard of her before. Hello, hello, hello. The gang is all here, eh? Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. I'm going total red, white, and blue. Total red, white, and blue. All the way down to my sport coat, which has got red, white, and blue in it. I thought in light of our conversation on radio yesterday about flying the flag, that I should make sure that I'm dressing the part. So I am the flag today. If you have nothing to do this weekend, consider Parks Casino. You could do a lot worse. Happy hour at the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, seating inside and out, live entertainment at the 360 Lounge, dine at one of the award-winning restaurants, the Parks Grill Steakhouse, Liberty Bell Gastropub, delicious sushi hand rolls at the Bamboo Noodle House, lots of gaming, 115 live table games, 3,200 state-of-the-art slots. It is my casino of choice. So much excitement. Debbie Gibson, wow, that's a new one coming. JB Smoove, I told you about that. The acapella sounds of Straight No Chaser. That's a good name, isn't it? Lots of fun stuff to do, all under one roof. The horses are next door. I mean, it's just a happening spot and easy to get to from wherever you might be in the Northeast. So have some fun Memorial Day weekend at Parks Casino. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino. This is how you win. So did you see the thumbnail for this conversation? I assume you did. Thank you to the boys at Creative, because they designed it exactly as I hoped that they would, with a split screen between Ellie Honig, the former Southern District of New York prosecutor, truly the breakout star in terms of journalists and the Trump trial, and my old friend who represented the Trump Payroll Corporation in this same courtroom in front of the same judge, I guess 2 years ago, veteran criminal defense attorney William J. Brennan. Both of them are on CNN with me today, because this is shocking. By the time I'm here in this studio for another Saturday program, by next Saturday, this case will have ended. This case will have ended. And the poll question today at Smerconish.com asks, how's it going to end? With an acquittal, with a conviction, or with a hung jury? I expect, even though it's a holiday weekend and I think people are doing other things, I expect that there'll be heavy voting today. I also expect that most people will be voting for conviction. I think it's a close call between conviction and hung jury. If I were a betting person on this issue, I would think that the odds are greater for conviction than they are for hung jury. I don't see any prospect for an acquittal, but if there were an acquittal, that would be huge politically for Donald Trump. I don't think politically anything that unfolds this week is going to move the needle. And we can revisit that next Saturday as to whether I was right or whether I was wrong. Whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong. What is that song from? I've gotta be me. I've gotta be me. Sammy Davis Jr.? I've got to be me. I feel like it's a Broadway show, but I'm not sure what it is. Okay, back to Ellie and to Bill. So I said to each of them yesterday, hey, maybe a little bit hokey, maybe a little bit unfair, but come prepared to the show, the CNN program, to give me a 60-second soundbite that if you were delivering the closing argument for the prosecution, Ellie, or if you were delivering the closing argument for the defense, Bill, give it to us on television. And each has committed to doing that. So that should be fun today on the CNN program. I want to recommend something that is in today's newsletter, which will be dispatched in about 20 minutes. It is a Politico magazine piece by Ankush Kardori, a former federal prosecutor. He's affiliated with Politico. He's been on the radio program with me. Has he been my CNN guest? I think he's also been my CNN guest. And you'll see him on CNN. Very bright guy. Very, Very good analysis. If you want to get into the weeds on the technical aspects of the Trump verdict. And by the way, I don't know that people on the jury are going to get into the weeds. I don't know. I mean, they may just decide he slept with her, he paid her off, it was because of the election, let's go home. If they get into the weeds, and this is why on radio and on television I've spoken so much about the importance of the charge. How is the jury actually going to be charged in this regard? Let me share something with you. I hate to read at you, but I'm going to read 3 paragraphs from Ann Cush's piece that I think are very well done. Very, 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 very focused. Several major factual issues appear to be largely, if not entirely, incontestable at this point, given the way that the evidence came in over the course of the trial, and much of it is not good for Trump. First, Trump had an extramarital sexual encounter with Stormy Daniels, despite his years-long claim to the contrary, both before and during the trial. We agree on that, right? I mean, he's denied it outside the courtroom. He said nothing inside the courtroom, but we think he slept with her. I don't think there's an issue. That's not illegal. That's not illegal, okay? Second, Trump worked with and through David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, to catch and kill damaging stories about him to influence the outcome of the 2016 election. And Trump wanted him to do the same with Daniel's story once she began shopping it around in the final weeks of the campaign. Paying hush money, not illegal. Third, after Pecker declined to kill the Daniels story, Cohen paid Daniels himself and was later reimbursed for the cost by Trump. And fourth, the Trump Organization's business records inaccurately described the reimbursement to Cohen as work for legal services. Okay, I have a question no one has addressed. If it wasn't illegal for Trump to sleep with Stormy Daniels in Nevada, that's where it all went down. And if it's not illegal to pay hush money, and if the issue here is the way in which it was recorded in the Trump legal document, in the Trump business records, pardon me, because it was recorded as legal services, what should it have been recorded as? If there was no problem with the sex, and if there was no problem with the payment, then how should Trump have handled that from a recording perspective? That's a hell of a question, right? Okay, let me read on. There is, however, a potentially crucial ingredient missing from this list. In order to convict Trump on the felony charges brought by the prosecutors, it is not enough for them to establish that Trump paid Daniels off to influence the election, or even that he falsified his company's business records. That would only be a misdemeanor offense under New York law. Don't let your eyes glaze over if you're interested in what the legal nitty-gritty is of this case, because this is it. In order to establish Trump's guilt on the felony charges that have been brought, prosecutors have to persuade all 12 of the jurors beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump falsified those records with the intent to conceal another crime, such as breaking election laws. In the end, the case could rise or fall on that ostensibly narrow but essential and still hotly contested factual question. Where is the evidence in this trial of the election violation? There's none. There's none. It's been left amorphous. It's been left nondescript by the prosecutors, I think deliberately so. And I think that is the most salient, weakest part of the prosecution case. I would expect from my experience that there would have been a witness called to testify, an election law witness, who would sit there, present their credentials, be qualified in front of the judge as an election expert. And then there would come a point in the trial where in this case, the prosecution would say, and Dr. So-and-so, like an academic type, do you have an opinion within a reasonable degree of election law certainty that there was a violation of that law in this? Yes, I do. And what is that opinion? The law was broken, and here's why. And then the defense would call a rebuttal witness similarly qualified as an election law expert and would offer a contrary opinion, and the jury would have to decide which is which. Now, that's me, that's the lawyer, that's Ankush Karduri, that'll be Bill Brennan, that'll be Ellie Honig. Is that the way the case will be decided? It's the way the case should be decided, that the jurors ought to sit there and follow the instruction as provided to them by the judge. But I'm not saying that's the way that it will go down. They may just decide, notwithstanding what I've told you about what's legal and what's not, yeah, he did it. He did it because of the election, and that's the end of the case. So remember 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, when Trump name-checked me, it's because I was making a similar point on radio. And I'm not the only one making that point. And of course, some people want to say, oh, you're defending him. No, I'm not defending him. I'm analyzing the law in this case, and I see a weakness. I see a hole in the prosecution's presentation. Now, here's another consideration. The person who through his testimony drew Trump into this mix was Michael Cohen. And I think that the impact of Cohen's testimony was a wash. I've been saying that this is a possibility. I think this is a likelihood that the jurors are going to totally disregard him. And then the question becomes, was there enough evidence put in for the prosecution case without Michael Cohen? Here's a prediction for you. Prediction that the case ends probably with a guilty verdict, but I'm not predicting that. But I am predicting this, that there will be a juror or jurors who we meet, who do interviews at some point. I don't know how quickly. They'll have to be fearful for, getting a lot of blowback. And eventually you're going to hear a juror say, oh, we didn't even consider Michael Cohen. We didn't even consider him. It was all BS. We made our decision independently of him. That I think could happen. So anyway, it's shocking. We talk, the Trump, the indictments, This is it. Tuesday closing arguments, maybe extending into Wednesday, charge to the jury. They go behind closed doors. They're going to have the case by Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They're not staying through the weekend. I don't think so. I think by the time I'm here next weekend, it's over. It's over. Hey, one other thing, just apropos of Trump. Were you listening to me, or do you follow me on Twitter when I remarked on the production values of the Trump rallies, and I said, why do we never get to see the crowd? There's so much discussion about, the crowd, the turn around the cameras, he says. And I also commented on how the signal always fades. It's just like it's Wayne's World. And I don't know why. Because there's high interest in these rallies. Did you see the aerial photograph of the Bronx? It was exactly as I suspected. Sure, there were people there, but all this business about, there were miles, they were walking. Look at this, look at it. No, look at the aerial photograph. It's like the inauguration all over again. What else am I doing today? Oh, this is interesting. Early this morning, I looked at Drudge Report, and I see that leading Drudge is RFK Jr.'s speech yesterday at the Libertarian Convention. RFK Jr. spoke at the Libertarian Convention yesterday. Donald Trump is speaking there tonight. That'll be interesting. Is there a chance that libertarians will endorse Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or Donald Trump? It's this kind of a debate that they're going through. If we take one of our candidates, like one of our purists, we're going to get 1% of the vote. If we take RFK Jr. or Donald Trump, half a loaf, they're not pure libertarians, but wow, it would really be a charge for the party. I think there's a poll question in there for tomorrow. I'm trying to think of what would I ask. What should the libertarians have endorsed, or should the libertarians endorse RFK, Kennedy, or one of their other candidates? or maybe what would have more impact? I'm gonna marinate on that. So Nick Gillespie will be my guest. He's radio tested. He was on yesterday, and Melissa Carney is going to join me, also radio tested. That's my way of saying battle tested on radio and ready for TV. She's the economist from the University of Maryland talking about declining birth rates. I love that subject. I loved how the audience was totally into that subject. Is that good or bad for the planet? That's the debate that we'll have. And I'm also going to do my commentary that you, radio listeners, helped me focus and polish about the flag and the need to fly the American flag and not allow just one side or another to co-opt it for their political purposes. I'd say that's a lot. I wish you good things on this Memorial Day weekend. Let's remember the purpose, which I'll be relating again on CNN today. Think about those who have made the ultimate. What did we decide on? Not supreme, but ultimate sacrifice? I think that's the word choice that I'm going to go with. Yeah, those who served and wore the uniform of the country. By all means, have fun, be safe, but keep in mind the purpose. I appreciate all of you, especially those of you who are here when I'm live, okay? Like Nancy Toroyan and Sean Nichols and Susan Engel and Carrie Wrightley and Connie Fletcher and Jay Samilak and Jamal, my man Jamal. Jamal, you're getting that book. Don't worry. You're getting that book, Jamal. I'm going to wrestle it right out of TC's hands. Fabrizio. Ciao, Fabrizio. And Jay and Jim. Thanks, gang. Have a great day. I'm going to go get my noggin polished. See ya.